You need to set up the traffic builder campaign first. Then you set up the lead generator campaign. Very important. I'm setting up this campaign after I set up the traffic builder campaign. So if you didn't set up the traffic builder campaign, you guys got to go back and you need to set up the traffic builder campaign first. Then you set up the lead generator campaign. Very important. So as you can see, this example, this campaign here, it shows the first campaign name is lead generator. The second campaign is traffic builder. For this one, I'm going to create a brand new one from scratch. So you click create, pops up this menu here. You're going to pick, very simple, lead generation. On here, there's some other options, right? I like how they do this because you can just name the campaign right here. So I'm going to name it. Remember, you want to make sure you name it the purpose. And then I'm going to also put lead gen. I'm going to put like a 1 there, or I'm going to put some identifier to be different than the original one. So I'm going to do lead gen and I'm going to do 1 for this set. Ad set, it all depends if the client already has an ad set or audience that's already working very well. You may want to create a new one, or you could pull from an ad set. I'm going to just create a brand new ad set and I'm going to call this one the same one. I'm going to call it something generic. All right. So we got audience 2. The reason why I named it 2 is because I actually don't know if I named the first audience 1. So like I said, you just need some identifier that it's different. And when you're talking about the campaign structure, you have campaign, which is the purpose of the campaign. The ad set is the audience, and then the ad itself is the creative. I actually don't know what creative I'm going to be using right now. Typically, before you start this, you'll probably want to have that figured out, but we'll figure it out. But I'll just put ad test for now. Once we figure out what creative we'll use, we'll make the name identify so it could correlate to what the creative is. Now, when you open it now, you set in the names. It's going to open up to the campaign section. Here, there's so many things that you could change, and most of the things you're not going to do anything on campaign. But you have this campaign objective. We're actually going to look at everything because I want you guys to understand that you should look through everything. Like you should at least know what it does. So if somebody asks you, you could tell them, "No, we don't do that for this reason." So I'm going to just break it down for you. Create a new template. I don't ever really create a template. It's just more work. There's no point in creating a template. Special ad category. This is for people who, and you could read it. Okay, you're required to declare if your ads are related to credit, employment, housing, social issues, elections, or politics. If it's anything related to those, what were stated, we must click this on. So because we're real estate agent, they're for housing and credit, we got to turn that on. You got to declare the 1, so we pick housing. If you're trying to recruit somebody, it's employment. If you're recruiting them into your company as an employee, then you click employment. If you're recruiting somebody for a network marketing business or some type of 1099, you don't need to click that for that reason. So we got housing there. So we're good there. See recommendations. You could click on that stuff and it'll tell you, what to do. I could tell you why. See, click on this stuff. You could read this stuff. It tells you. I mean, the recommendation is, it says, since you're using Facebook Pixel, creating a conversion campaign can help find people more likely to take action on your website. Many advertisers who use Facebook Pixels can lower cost per result with conversion campaigns. So it's trying to tell you, hey, use conversion campaigns. Why? A conversion campaign shows your ad to people likely to take action you want, like making a purchase. So it tells you what that would be for. Most of what we do is not going to be conversion. Conversion is only going to be relative for people who are selling a specific product that they could purchase on Facebook. If they could purchase on a Facebook, then you do conversions. If they go into a lead drip campaign or they do an opt-in and you're just gathering a lead, you're not doing a conversion. So you want to make sure that's important. Campaign. Oh, then they have the auction, right? So it tells you how do you want to do this? Do you want auction or do you want to do reach and frequency? I never change this. I always do auction. And quite frankly, reach and frequency just shows it to more people. Auction is going to show it to more people that are likely to convert or more people that are in the category. So if you want more of a broader reach, you could pick reach and frequency. If you want auction, you could do auction. Quite frankly, I don't change this. A/B testing. This is not a test. This is a first ad. So we're not going to do any testing here, but you can look into that in your own time. Campaign budget optimization. This is good after you start campaigns. Campaign budget optimization, it basically, let's see if it kind of explains it here. Campaign budget optimization will distribute your budget across ad sets to get more results depending on your delivery optimization choice and bid strategy. You can control spending on each ad set. So you can control spending on each ad set. So you could say, you know what, I want to make sure all my ads get $3 to every ad. Or you could say, I got $3 and I want Facebook to determine where those ads go to based off how it's performing. Or you could even take it one step further and go campaign optimization, and you could say now it's based off of what ad set performing the best. Campaign optimization is good sometimes, but not in the beginning. Very important. So everything is good here. Now remember, ad set is the audience lead method. You could have a business just call you or a lead just call you instead. If I am talking to a brick and mortar store, I may choose to click the call button. However, if it's a coach, realtor, a person or business who's appointment only type of business, like they have a product or service that works based off appointment only, then I'm gonna go instant form. More of the technical stuff. Okay, so page, obviously you got to pick the right page. If you have access to multiple pages, make sure you pick the right page. Dynamic creative, you could have multiple creatives, just like budget optimization. Dynamic creative is the same thing, but for the ad purpose. So the budget is distributed based off what ad is working the best, what creative is working the best. So that's what dynamic creative is. So you could have various different ones to figure out which one's the best. I don't do that very often unless I have a client who has a bigger budget and you would need a lot of creative to do the dynamic creative. Because if you don't have a lot of money to spend, you're dispersing pennies, and you can't disperse pennies. You need to disperse dollars. So if you're in an industry where your average, right, your market research should tell you what the average cost per lead is. But if you're in an industry that tells you it's like $30 a cost per lead on Facebook, then you want to say, well, shoot, how am I going to spend $5 a day on different types of creatives? It's going to take like forever to get to $30 on each ad for an ad to determine if it's working or not. So you want to, less creative in the beginning, less dynamic in the beginning, unless you have a lot of budget. And then so I changed the daily budget. Now this is something that we'll talk about more often as we go through these courses and trainings, but budgeting is so important. People, they always miss this step. And I'll talk a lot more about it later on, but you want to start small. That's the whole thing. Even if you have somebody who's like, I want to spend $1,000 a day, well, then you must start small on all these different ads. So you may have a couple different audiences that's spending, $50 a day. If their main goal is $1,000 a day, and you're only going to spend, I say, if your main budget is $1,000, the max budget in your testing season, you should be spending 20 to 50% of your budget. If their budget is $1,000 a month, well, then you tell them, okay, so then start off with $200 a month. And if you start with $200 a month in the testing, then you could phase it up and you could do more and more. You could start adding to it with what works. And we'll get into that in the optimizing section. The whole thing here is budget, start small. Okay. The schedule, don't mess with the schedule. Okay. People, unless you have an end date. If it's an event, right? If you have an event, then you put the event end date, but the date after the event. That's pretty important. That's a little trick for those people who do event marketing. You do it the day after the event. But for this one, you're not going to have a start date. You're not going to have an end date. We don't want to mess with any of that. No need for that. There's also this other section here where it says show more options. You could click there. You could say run ads all the time. You could edit this. Sometimes you could edit the schedule, like specific hours of the week. I have some people who are very specific about this, but I don't like to mess with that too much. But if the client is specific, then I'll tell them, look, hey, client, it's good for you guys to know this, but I don't like to mess with this very often. But it's good to know that if you have a client who says, you know what, I only want to run hours from 7 in the morning to 2 p.m., then you could actually adjust the schedule here. So ad scheduling is where you would do that. And right here, it doesn't have it as an option. It's blocked off because it's only available when you set up this budgeting right. Instead of a daily budget, you have to go lifetime budget, and then you would start adjusting. But for this person, we're just going to do daily budget. Like if you have a happy hour, for instance, I did this with my mom's restaurant. We ran ads during her happy hour. We ran them 1 hour before the happy hour, and then we ended the ads when happy hour was over. We only ran hours in that time. It was like a 4-hour time frame. So for the restaurant, it worked pretty well for her, but she was trying to get more of the tourist people to come in. So running ads like that, and that's kind of where you get creative. That's really where you want to start thinking is what's the need. So for her to attract some of these tourists, she wanted to do these happy hour bonuses, and then we targeted them at that certain time frame. So that would be something that you would do for ad scheduling, and you can adjust your whole budgeting accordingly. So then as we move on, we got this audience section. Okay, define the audience you want. And I like how it says learn more. Like you always click these. It kind of tells you read about this, guys. More power to you guys. Learn everything you can. If you guys signed up because you wanted to get better at creatives and you wanted to learn about these ads, read about all this stuff, because we can only ask questions based off the edge of the knowledge we have. So remember, the more knowledge you get, the better questions you're going to be able to ask. So read all that stuff that Facebook provides. It's pretty cool. They provide all that stuff. But as we go into audiences, if they don't have an audience, if they have a specific audience, we're acting as if there's no audience already for this client. The only audience that we have for this client is the traffic campaigns. So if we have these traffic campaigns, and this is really where the magic is, right? Where the two campaigns collide. For this one, the lead generation, audience 2, remember, we're doing 2 types of audiences in the lead generator one. You're pulling from the audience of the audience builder. And the way we do that is 2 different ways. It's retargeting, okay, the people who have engaged, the people who have clicked or went to the pixel. How the pixels really benefit you here is because we could actually choose people based off of the data. I'm going to show you how to create an audience. We have some pixels going and we have the ad going, so things are happening, but now we need to create a new audience. So we're going to create new, and we're going to pull this audience from either a custom audience or a special ad audience. These 2, if you're not in the special ad category, remember when, politicians, housing, credit, if you're not in that, it's going to say custom audience and it's going to say lookalike audience. But if you're in a special ad category, it's going to say custom audience and it's going to say special ad audience. All right, so custom audience, you click on that. Now we got here and it says, where do we want to pull the data from? The website, you're sending people to the landing page, gathering their information, and you're going to retarget those people. Video, people who've watched a certain percentage. The higher the percentage, the more intent, the more excited this person is to be your customer. And then lead form's going to come in at a later time. Lead form comes in at a later time when we talk about optimizing, because the first level of optimizing is top end funnel, is the audience builder. The middle part of the funnel is the lead generator campaign. And then some of the bottom part of the funnel is going to be, which is one more level of optimizing the data, is going to be lead form. So we're not going to use lead form right now, but it is something we do when we start optimizing. So for this case, we're just going to go website just to make it simple. So we'll click website. Now it's going to ask us what source. It's going to give us all the pixels that are connected to this page and ad account. This gentleman here, he has a few pixels that are added. For him, we're going to go seller's guide landing page. I'm pretty sure that's his main pixel. Include people who meet any. So you could refine it by any people who meet these categories, or if they meet all the categories. I want all the people who go to either the thank you page or the landing page. But I tell people you have to be simple. Just keep it super simple at first. If you overcomplicate it, you may not get any results, or you may just get really expensive results. Anyone who goes to this landing page, I'm going to retarget them. I'm going to build this audience of those people. Now, I could create this event. If I have a specific event, this pixel, I was able to create certain events in the pixel. Like for instance, if they view the content, or if they actually submitted the application. Audience that I want to build is going to be everyone who's actually just viewed the page. If they submitted or didn't submit, doesn't matter. If they at least viewed the page, then I want to retarget them. Super simple. Just go all the visitors who visited this page in the last 30 days. And that could vary based off the promotion you're doing. But I'm going to build this audience of targeting people who don't buy, but they go to the landing page. I'm going to target them aggressively for 30 days. And that's the audience that you're going to build. So maybe that's another audience that you build. So I'm just kind of giving you guys all examples here. So I'm just going to go all people who visit the website, and I'm going to even go 180 days. Now you can include or exclude people. So that's what I said about refining your audience and kind of narrowing your audience if you wanted to. And then you're going to name the audience. When you create the audience, it's going to show up in this section. So when I go custom audience, I go to type out the audience. It's going to pull up all the different audiences that I've already created. As we finish here on the audience, we change the location. Remember what I said about location? It depends on the business. If they're a business that's nationwide, statewide, if they're a business that's local, brick and mortar, you're going to change this. Because he's a realtor for this client, I'm going to change this to West Covina. That's close enough. And we're going to go 35. We'll go 38 miles. Just a fun number. So only adjust it if it makes sense to adjust it. The age category, for him, now there's certain things with special categories that you can or cannot do. So category on the age, you can't adjust age because you can't discriminate if it's a special ad category. So you can't do age, you can't adjust gender. That's why our strategy is so important, especially with people in special ad categories. The retargeting of pixels and lookalike audience is so important. So now we've created this audience, lead 90 days, then adjusted the location to the audience, then manual or automatic placement. This depends. I always remember in the beginning, keep it simple, less specific, less detailed, more data. So you want to just do automatic placement. Facebook has already spent billions of dollars. Like they're using the data that they have. You get to use the data that they have. So don't try to manually place your own ads places unless you're doing a specific campaign that requires that. But this one and most of them are not. It's going to be automatic. You don't adjust any of the delivery. You don't adjust any of the cost controls and the more options here, which there's 2 more options here. You're not going to adjust any of these block list, content type exclusive. You're not going to do any of that for 97, 98% of the clients that you serve. You're not ever going to really change that ever. Okay, not on the lead generation campaign. You're going to then click next. And you're going to go to the creative, and the creative is very simple. It's just like the audience builder. You do the creative, you write the copy, call to action. This is typically like a sign up because it's going straight to a lead form, and it's going to tell you right here, lead form. It's going to say instant form or automated chat. If they have a chat bot, you may want to do automated chat. We can incorporate that, but most of the time we just do instant form. And then the most important thing is you're going to track it. Okay, the tracking must be on the pixel that we have picked. So if you're pulling data from the landing page, right, we're gonna have to adjust that, make sure they are the same. And then boom.
Hi, I'm Zachary D'Amato, founder of a2z123Marketing.com, the company that shows you the real side of marketing. No fancy tricks, just showing you A to Z in simple as 1, 2, 3. If you like the information you just heard, please give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and leave me a comment. Make sure you subscribe so you can get notifications, and it helps the algorithm so we can show this information to more people like you. And thanks again for watching.